Hi guys, and welcome to episode 171 of the Layton Fitness Podcast. Now, within this specific episode, we'll be discussing, should you be performing cardio within a muscle building phase? Let's firstly just take a step back and look at our main goals within the fat loss phase. Essentially, we've really got two goals, and that is to firstly create a calorie surplus. So it's important that we're consuming more calories than we're burning. There's a great quote from Layton McDonald that says you cannot build muscle out of wishful thinking and thin air alone, and that's so true. There needs to be a calorie surplus in place, so consuming sufficient protein and then a calorie surplus. And then the next most important factor is having a training program in place which allows you to increase volume over time. So as mentioned many times before, volume is the biggest determining factor for influencing muscle growth, which is sets times reps times loads. So in short, if you're getting stronger within the rep ranges you're currently doing, then volume will be going up by default. So that's really your goal within the muscle building phase, is increasing volume, or in short, just getting stronger within all the sets you're currently doing, and that will mean that volume will be going up by default. If volume's going up, as well as you've got a calorie surplus in place, then you will build muscle. Now, with regards to cardio, there's a couple of things why you may not want to be performing this within a muscle building phase. The first reason is, by performing cardio, you're just burning more calories, and therefore you're essentially taking calories away from what could be used to build new muscle. If you're performing cardio, again, that burns calories, and those calories could be used to help build brand new muscle. So that's the first thing you need to consider, especially if you're someone that really struggles to get in sufficient calories, and that can be a real struggle within the muscle building phase, is getting insufficient calories to create that calorie surplus needed for growth. If you're one of those individuals, by adding in cardio, again, you're just taking calories away from what could be used for new growth. The other thing to consider is there can also be an interference effect as well, especially if you're performing more endurance type training. So essentially, if you're doing endurance type running, there's obviously going to be an endurance adaptation which occurs, and that is counterproductive to the strength and muscle building adaptations we're trying to get from the muscle building, from the weight training program. Therefore, you can get an interference effect. Essentially, that endurance effect can counteract the strength and muscle building adaptation we're trying to get from the weight training program. So that's another thing that's very important to consider. Now, you may be wondering, what about my health, James? Surely I need to be doing some cardio to get all the health benefits. And the reality is you really don't, because if you think about weight training, essentially you're doing high intensity interval training, in the sense that you're performing short bursts of intense work, then you're resting, then you're repeating. And as long as your program's built around main big compound exercises, things like squats, deadlifts, bench press, overhead press, variations, if you've performed these exercises before, you know how draining and fatiguing they are. And again, as long as you've got relatively short to moderate rest periods, then you're going to be getting all the health benefits you would do from HIIT training. So that's not a concern whatsoever. Now, the final thing to consider is personal preference. If you have a personal preference to do some cardio within the muscle building phase, that's absolutely fine. The real key is just doing it in moderation. You don't want to be having 5-6 days per week cardio and in addition to your weight training program. You don't want to be overdoing it. So I wouldn't suggest any more than, say, for example, two cardio sessions, especially if you were doing, let's say, for example, running or cycling, something that's over a longer period of time. I wouldn't suggest any more than, for example, twice per week. However, the other thing to finally consider is the cardio type. I see no reason why you couldn't do any LISS or low intensity steady state cardio, which is basically walking. There's no reason why you couldn't do that multiple times per week. You're not going to get the same endurance adaptation as you would do from more continuous type cardio like running or cycling over a prolonged period of time. So that's the final thing to consider, is the cardio type. So just to conclude, in short, you really don't need to include any cardio within a muscle building phase, because again, cardio, because you're burning calories, is just taking calories away from what could be used for new growth. Additionally, you're already getting all the health benefits from the weight training. There can be an interference effect if you do too much cardio, especially more moderate type cardio, because of that endurance adaptation. But with that being said, I see no reason why you can't perform, say, 1 to 2 cardio sessions per week within a muscle building phase, or if you wanted to do more lower intensity type cardio, things like walking, there's no reason why you can't do that pretty much most days. I don't see any reason why you couldn't do that most days. So hopefully this has been useful. Hopefully this has kind of opened your eyes and made the decision-making process much simpler if you were going to go into muscle building phase and you're unsure whether to do cardio or not. Well, now you know. Thank you very much for listening. If you're still yet to subscribe to the podcast, please do so you don't miss an episode as these come out each week. And if you're still yet to download my free ebook, How to Set Up a Nutrition Plan, which will teach you how to set calories, protein, carbohydrates, and fats, and calories needed to lose body fat or build muscle. If you go to James Layton, Layton, fitness.co.uk, you'll see a tab at the top of the page called free ebook, and you can download that immediately. I look forward to speaking to you next week. Thank you very much.